Hi, how's everybody doing? It's Paul from Magpie 24/7 back again after Newcastle United, or aka Drawcastle, drew again down at Bournemouth at the Vitality, nils apiece. And yeah, 3 games away from home this season and 3 draws. It's not exactly champagne football, sexy football, but I guess, look, at the end of the day, if you draw your away games, you win your home games, you won't be far wrong come the end of the season. But there certainly wasn't much vitality at, well, that's slightly less than impressive Vitality Stadium. But yeah, it's another frustrating one. We still haven't actually picked a victory up, down on the South Coast since Eddie Howe was the manager of Bournemouth back in 2019. They are definitely one of our bogey sides, it must be said. Great fans, great support, great noise generated at the stadium. But I just think at the moment it was pretty much destined to be a 0-0. This was always going to be a difficult task after Barcelona on Thursday. The changes were rang, 7 of them in total. We changed the shape of the team. We went with 3 at the back. We dropped a midfielder, and obviously an extra man at the back. I thought there were some good performances, some frustrating performances as well, but definitely some good, definitely some positives. It's a point we don't normally get. We normally don't do great down here at all, but I just felt it was there to win today. The points were there to be had, there to be taken. And I just got to say, thanks, Kango. Thank you very much. If I had it, I'd have been pulling it out watching that game. But I thought we controlled large spells. I thought they started better, and I thought they finished better. We could have had a spot kick or two. We could have also been sent down to 10 men as well. As frustrating and as messy as that would have been, and as, you know, 2 daft, silly yellow cards it could have been in quick succession for Malik Chow. We also saw the return of Jamal Lascelles, so it was nice to see him coming back after all the injury drama and worry and all that sort of thing from last season. So again, positives were there to be had. I thought Nick Pope, he didn't have a great deal to do, but got down extremely well at the end, and that's a sign of a great keeper. Nothing much to do during the game. Did what he had to do, don't get me wrong, tidily throughout the game. But then when you need your keeper to produce a save, he got down really well at the end and protected a point. So that's 4 clean sheets out of 5. And that has been the real strength of this season. Defensively, we are looking, as tight as a duck's ass, aren't we, at the back. We don't look like really conceding. We look quite control and cool and calm in possession. And today, Malik Chow, I thought was absolutely fantastic. He was taken off to protect themselves a little bit towards the end. I think, again, when the fitness side of things was starting to maybe struggle a little bit, because he was fine up to that point, and then he got a daft yellow card, and then you go and make another daft foul, and you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I think Eddie was like, right, get warmed up, Jamal, get on. We're taking him off and we're not taking any risks. But I thought it was a good showing from Malik Chow. I like him, and I think he could form a really good, effective partnership with Sven Botman, who was also back in the heart of the defence. And boy, oh boy, that was one of the positives about today, to see him back. And again, he just looks so cool and calm and collective. Like, he literally doesn't have to step out of his comfort zone. And he's just an absolutely class defender. So it was great to see him back. Dan Burn could arguably be man of the match for the performance today. He put his head on it. He put his body in the road. He got the blocks in. I think when the game first started and Lewis Hall was a little bit shaky, his first start since February, I think it was a calming influence at the back, was a big Dan Burn. So again, another fantastic performance, I felt personally, from Dan Burn. The entire defence was good. Tino Livramento on one side, our wing back, and Lewis Hall on the other side. Again, great. I touched upon the fact that Hall didn't have the best of starts. It's to be expected. You've had all these months out. And I think he'll probably start again in the League Cup match, if I'm being honest. But I think he certainly grew into the game. He had chances, opportunities. He was trying to get forward all the time. Tino Livramento was as well. Into midfield, and then Sandro Tonali, that could be the other contender for me for man of the match. 180 minutes in a couple of days. Barcelona, then down to Bournemouth. And even at 90 minutes, he was still sprinting around. The lad has he's ever ready. He's I don't know what his regime is, but his runs in 90 minutes, into stoppage time in a game, look as good as the runs that he makes, after 30, 60 seconds. It's absolutely extraordinary. The engine that he's got on him, and he's so cool and he's composed and he just picks the passes out and he continues to, probe and pass and tackle and absolute class. He is a joy to watch, an absolute joy to watch. Also in midfield, Lewis Smiley. Now, I didn't think he had his best performance. I don't think he's had a great performance for quite a while, if I'm being honest. He doesn't look like the same player who burst onto the scene, before he had that injury. And it's hard to judge when he's just coming in for an odd game here and there. But again, I think he's another one who will start against Bradford, and he needs a performance. I thought he was okay today, but there was none of that getting the ball and trying to make a killer pass, setting up a goal. And it just seemed a little bit restrained and underwhelming, I felt, from Lewis Miley during that game. You perhaps saw it differently, but from yours truly, I didn't think it was his best game, to be honest. Obviously, we had a strong bench. We had Joe Linton sat there. We had Bruno sat there. But again, I think Eddie Howe wanted to give rest. I think he's learned lessons from previously when we were in the Champions League and we had that altercation, didn't we, with Kieran Trippier and the away support. When the team was literally the same team week in, week out. He is rotating. We do have a better squad. There's no doubt about that. We've rotated today. But yeah, I think going back to Lewis Miley, it just needs more minutes and more games. And I'm sure that we'll see the old Lewis Miley, come back up with the hunger, the chip on his shoulder, and that no fear approach. So yeah, I thought he was all right today. Don't get me wrong, but nothing really great. And speaking of that, that brings me on to Joe Willock. He was again, brought back in from the cold. And again, I don't know, is it injuries? Is it something else? He just seems to have lost a yard or two of pace, that instant sort of burst that he used to have, where, when he got going, there would nobody who could get anywhere near him, just seemingly is gone. He's not defensively great. He's not offensively offering much to the team at the moment. And again, another one who might get another run out when it comes to Bradford, but he just needs to step it up, because if he doesn't step it up, then I can see Eddie Howe dipping back into the transfer market for another central midfielder, because I do think we're a little bit short there, to be honest. Especially with normally playing three in the middle. I just think it's not ideal when you can't just fully rotate for a game, from midweek to the weekend. And we have to, and we are learning lessons off the last time that we were in Europe. So it's just imperative. It's absolutely imperative that either Willock steps up to the plate, Miley steps up to the plate, and can offer viable alternatives to be able to rest and protect Joe Linton, Bruno, and Tonali when we need to, or we need to look elsewhere. We need to move them on, as far as I'm concerned. It sounds harsh, but this is the cutthroat, the top end of the Premier League. That's where we want to be operating in. We all saw yesterday we want to be number one and all that. And if that's the case and that's the plan, then there's no room for sentiment, in football. We can't keep dropping points, to be honest, like this. I thought Jacob Murphy was, again, lively. I think he was unlucky not to have started the last game, against Barcelona in midweek on Thursday even. And again, had chances. He tried to affect the game. He was trying to get crosses in and everything, but it just wasn't to be. And speaking of wasn't to be, again, probably, right sort of thing for Nick Voltemada. It just wasn't one of them days. I don't think, he's not an out and out striker, but I don't think any of the lads particularly helped him in this game. I'm not being that they were deliberately trying anything, but they weren't close enough to him. He was too isolated. There wasn't Newcastle United bodies around him. He showed some good hold-up play, I felt. Some good use of his feet, trying to bring other people into the game. But those folk he was trying to bring into the game were from too far away. We needed more support around him, more bodies. It just didn't click. At the end of the day, The rest of the lads are getting used to Nick Voltemade. Nick Voltemade is getting used to the rest of the lads. We're not doing training at the moment. It's games and recovery, so it makes it difficult. And we've had to throw him into the deep end because we've literally got nothing else. Don't mention Asula. I said nothing else. I'll get to Rasula in a little bit, but this is the the trouble of getting a striker in late and the whole Isak fucking soap drama that went on over the summer. The lads are used to playing with the Swedish rat up front. He's gone, and now we're having to get used to Nick Voltemado, a totally different player. He will score you goals. I think he's very, very good. There's great signs that he's shown, from his performances, but we've got to get better as the rest of the team in the midfield getting closer to him. In the crosses being put in how he's, going to like to. For us to be able to get the most out of him and to be able to start racking up a few goals, because although it's hugely positive that we're keeping 4 clean sheets out of 5, we've only conceded against Barcelona. Yeah, Barcelona, easy for me to say, and Liverpool. We do need to beat goals win games, and as much as draws and avoiding defeat is fantastic. We do need to carry a bit more goal threat, and that certainly needs to be the case, even if Vissa isn't available like he is at the moment. I think with a Vissa today, we get the job done. We score a goal. You take a shot, it takes a deflection, it ricochets to somebody, or it's a tap in. Something happens for us to get a goal, and you pick the 3 points up. But I can't be too down about going to Bournemouth and picking up a point, because I do genuinely think it's been a good point, and I'm looking forward to the game midweek against Bradford, and another game where there's bound to be more changes. You're looking at the likes of Ramsdale coming in for Pope. Pope's been absolutely fantastic. I know there was a little bit of critique over the summer to do with Nick Pope, but I think he's answered. He's answered anyone who's even slightly doubted him in emphatic fashion. Yes, his kicking isn't fantastic, but he's a great shot stopper. And he demonstrated that today. But I think Ramsdale comes in for the cup game. Across the back, we may even see Harrison Ashby in right back. He's registered. He's in and around the squad. Just hasn't been used as of yet. Livramento's played a lot of minutes and a lot of games, so he may be rested. We may see Emil Kraft. Emil Kraft may come into the middle. We don't know. There is options and there is possibilities to be able to rotate there. Do we see more of Malik Chow? Perhaps. Do we see Jamal Lascelles? I think it's more than likely that we see Jamal Lascelles in. And I think Dan Burn could probably do with a rest. So you could make the argument for going with Lascelles and Kraft at the back, Harrison Ashby on one side, and then you would imagine Lewis Hall again at left back for an hour or so. More minutes in the legs. And I think he will benefit from that, a lot. Into midfield, he rested Bruno today, he rested Joe Linden, so we might see them again the 60, 65 minutes, something like that in the middle of the park. But again, Joe Willock and Lewis Miley are screaming for minutes as well. So it could be that, Eddie brings in one of the Brazilians to go alongside of Willock and Miley as well, and we'll play a free in there. And then the question marks about outside. Well, we've got Alanga who came on today, Jacob Murphy, where it started the game, so you would think with the thought of rotation that you would assume it would possibly be Alanga starting the next game, and then on the other side Harvey Barnes, who came on, and actually there was another bright spark, a bit of a bright spot. He came on, he was energetic, he was direct, he looked like he had a point to prove, he was running into the box, he nearly scored, trying to make things happen. And then up top, you would assume it would be Willisula. It's not going to be my cup of tea. And it's not because I don't like the lad, because I do like the lad. I like the lad. I like his chant and stuff like that. But do I think that he's doing enough in a Newcastle United shirt to warrant starting at all? And I don't. I honestly don't. He's had opportunities. Yes, he got the goal against Liverpool, a toe poke. You can score those. Right place, right time. But he's not getting shots away. He's not staying central. He goes left, he goes right, he runs around. But a striker needs to be a focal point. A striker needs to get shots away. A striker needs to work the goalkeeper, and he's not done enough of that. I I must admit that £30 million, I wish we'd have snapped a hand off and brought somebody else in, if I'm being honest. But look, I'll be there for the game against Bradford, and if he's starting up top, I'll be fully supporting him anytime anyone crosses that line. That is the case for yours truly. And just as well to mention today about the set pieces, and just to highlight and mark the card for going forward, because we've signed a couple of giants. There's no doubt about it. We've got some big lads, some big meaty lads, some big tall lads. We're a physical unit, a physical machine. And then I'm seeing corners clipped in. Corners clipped in. The defence knows, the opposition knows. Every time that we get a corner, it's the same type of corner each and every single time. I would have hoped with a new set piece coach that we might have been trying the odd thing occasionally, a bit of variation, a bit of rotation, but we're not. And I'm a bit surprised, I'm a bit shocked by that. For a team with some set piece specialists in there, um, free kicks. When did we last score a free kick? It feels like a while. Corners. Why aren't we scoring more when we literally land of the Giants? You would think that with the advantage that we've got in those areas, that we'd be able to exploit it a lot more. So it's a bit of a frustrating one. It's a bit of a head scratcher. It doesn't seem to make any difference if it's Alanga taking corners, if it's Kieran Trippier taking corners. It can be anybody taking corners, but it's just the same old tired routine. And teams just know that we're going to do that so they can defend against it all day long. And I'd just like us to be able to maybe try some short ones, and rather than just sort of clipping it in, can we swing some different way? Can we try something smart? Can we try something clever? Can we have, I don't know, something, anything apart from what we're doing at the moment. Just that little clipped ball over into the box, and then just seeing, it's a lucky dip, isn't it? It's a bit of a lucky dip situation. But not for me. It's a waste. I don't know how many hundreds of corners that we get. I mean, and we just don't ever seem to do out with them. They've got to be a major tool in the arsenal for Newcastle United. If you've got tall players and meaty players and, built like fucking brick houses, then surely you exploit that. It's a route to goal. It's an opportunity to get goals, and we're struggling for goals at the moment. So I don't know. Fingers crossed against Bradford, we just see something else. We see a couple of goals, and then we take it into the next Premier League game at home against Arsenal, and it's a bit of a pressure one. I know it's still early in the season, and I know we are doing really well in so many aspects of our play, but when we just draw in the games continuously away from home, it does put the pressure on the fact that you need the wins at home at St James's Park. So fingers crossed we can continue that run. It's all the Arteta stuff, so it's going to be a bit of a carnival atmosphere. There's no doubt about it. He's a pantomime villain, isn't he, at Newcastle? So we've got to go about them. They've got some cracking players, but we've got to go about that. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves, shall we? Definite positives of today. We look a difficult team to beat down, to break down. Nick Voldemar shown some lovely touches, some great hold-up play. We just have to evolve the Newcastle United machine into, a way to work around and to get the very best out of the goal-scoring promise that Nick Voldemar, gives us. And again, when we get Johan Visser back very shortly, in another 3-4 weeks ish. Again, the lads will have to get used to knowing how he likes the ball to be played. His expectations, the team. It's a whole. It's just such a shame that the entire Isak thing dragged on all summer, and we've not had the opportunity to do our homework and to get our selves sort of fully sorted and prepared for the season. We sort of feel like we're learning on the job, and that's always a difficult thing. I think it has snookered us. We are sort of paying a price for the sins of over the summer, no doubt about it. But yeah, like I touched upon, I'm definitely looking at this as a glass half full exercise as opposed to a glass half empty. a point down there will be a good point, I think, come the end of the season, and we will start scoring goals very, very shortly. We can get rid of the draw castle tag hopefully very, very soon. And it's still early in the season. I don't even look at tables and stuff till at least 10 games. No, Sunderland, them lot will all get the fucking wank socks out, Scousers and whatnot, the e-Scousers especially. Fuck me in the comment section. They're everywhere, aren't they? They're absolutely everywhere, and yeah, getting very, very excited. Come back after we've played 10, 20, 30 games, not after we've just played a handful of games and mostly away from home. So, no need to panic. Wasn't the greatest game of football. Like I say, there was a lack of vitality at the Vitality Stadium this afternoon, but yeah, things will come good. I've no doubt about it. 1,000% behind Eddie Howe and the rest of the coaches, the lads. They're giving it everything. It's a lot. It's a lot to ask for. Champions League games against the likes of Barcelona, and then tricky away games. The longest away game of the season domestically. Straight on the back of it, a Thursday night game, Sunday down there. It is a lot to ask for, and a much changed Newcastle United team. Stuck to the guns, stuck to the blueprint, stuck to the plans. You looked at them, you didn't think that it was a sort of a meshed up team, did you? So defensively sound, solid, coherent. It's just these set pieces, these free kicks, and that getting to know Nick and Nick getting to know us and the rest of the lads. That is the final missing link, it feels, in the big master plan that's going on. But anyway, that's enough of me rabbiting. We've got the podcast that's been done as well. Been told it's been very, very good, very, very lively this evening. That's been recorded by Ian at the moment. That's going to be sent over. I'll get that straight up onto the channel. And I think Kyle's coming on to it next week as well. And I'm going to wait for another couple of weeks. There's a couple of the lads who wants to get involved from behind the scenes, the writers, admins, etc. from Magpie 24/7. They want to get involved in it, so I've said, look, I'm quite happy to wait a few weeks before I jump onto the podcast, but very much looking forward to doing that. A chance to a little bit of therapy. Probably the Arsenal game isn't the one for me to go on straight away afterwards and stuff. So yeah, some good games coming up. But next we move on to the defence of our League Cup. That sounds absolutely fantastic, doesn't it? Can we get back down to Wembley, and can we have another great day out come next March, isn't it? When the final will be down at Wembley. Fingers crossed. Bradford won't be easy. 5,000 of their fans coming up. Fantastic support from Bradford. Yeah, unbelievable when you consider Barcelona brought under 800, probably about 700 for Bradford to be coming up with 5,000. Yeah, credit to them. They're going to be making plenty of noise, but yours truly will be making a bit of noise as well at St James's Park on Wednesday night. Subscribe to the channel, click like, get in the comments, let me know what you think about today's game and the game that's going to be coming up midweek in the League Cup, Newcastle's League Cup against Bradford. Yeah, subscribe to Magpie 24/7. It's greatly appreciated. And I will leave it there. So yeah, take care, keep it tuned, and I'll speak to you later.